I'm like a big kid. When I'm on a set pumping blood, I'm like, this is what I've always wanted to do. Or whatever, doing a makeup on a great actor and they're bringing it to life. You can't beat it. I've got the best job. Anything that's, you know, an addition to the body is prosthetic. So if we have to make somebody look like they've got a pregnant belly or aged or disfigured, then the special makeup effects side of it is kind of like bodies, burnt bodies, squirting blood, creatures, animatronics. The director contacted me and said, I'd really like you to do the makeup effect. It's the makeup's very important for the storyline, and I really like this director who's lovely, and Michael Sheen's lovely and a great actor. You know, I read the script, he's sending me scripts, he's sending me kind of mood boards, you know, how he thinks this particular job. There's a lot of like back and forth in time, and it's like aging Michael Sheen. We had to do kind of a Botox look for him. That was one of the makeups, like he'd had work done, but he wasn't fooling anyone. A chubby look, an old age look, and a down and out ill kind of look. And that was just for Michael. So 4 big looks, you know. So it's kind of like making notes. If I'm in a coffee shop, I'm looking at faces, I'm looking at people's hands, body movement if you're doing an elderly person. So I'm always compiling kind of images anyway. I hadn't got a makeup and hair designer on board yet. But just from the mood boards, like the production designer, it all takes place on a train and different, the 80s, the 70s. And then I'll start breaking it down, and I'll work with my wife, Sonia, so I'll be kind of working out how we're going to do it. Michael came here and we cast him, and then I started sculpting and then sending images to the director to okay. We make like a master mold. If I'm working and doing different looks, I can always get a copy out of that original mold. And I'm also, while I'm sculpting that, I'm bearing in mind it's not a static sculpture, it's how it's going to move when it's in the flesh-like material, in this case silicone. If I get the okay from the director, I then break that sculpt down into separate elements. So a forehead, a nose, eye bags, cheeks, chin, top lip, bottom lip, neck, backs of hands, whatever's visible under the costume. So we talk to the costume department. Is he going to wear a low-cut shirt? If we're doing an old age neck, we'll have to make sure we're covered there. There's nothing worse than you think they tell you he's wearing a t-shirt and then the costumes revealing his youthful chest. Then it's moulded into separate elements. So the forehead is a separate prosthetic, then that's running flesh. Because if we did it all in one piece, like a mask, it just wouldn't, for close-up, it just wouldn't look believable and realistic. Then we put the silicone in there, squish it together, put it under pressure, and then what comes out is that, but it unpainted and it doesn't have the eyebrows on. And then that fine layer is then blended into the skin. So that is basically what I sculpted, but in the flesh material, silicone in this case. And that's what we apply. That's what I applied to Michael Sheen's forehead. It kind of moves with his skin. So I've sculpted the prosthetic deliberately thin. So when he frowns, the prosthetic will frown in the same place. We had 6 weeks for that job and we had to create 10 different makeups. And because of COVID, it was like me in here mainly on my own. I sculpted it all and then getting people in on set. It was pretty full on. I think I worked 6 weeks, 7 days a week, sometimes till 4 a.m. just to get the job done. But it was such, you know, there's such nice people and it was a great project because aging somebody with prosthetics or mate is one of the hardest things to do. If I've got the time, I'll do everything myself. And it's not an ego thing, I just love the whole thing. I like painting it, I use an airbrush sometimes, but I like flicking colour on. But like when we did the old age look, I'll sculpt it and then mould it. Then I'll get, because of time, I'll get somebody in who runs the silicone, encapsulated silicone, who's better at it than me, that's their speciality. Some people just sculpt, some people just mould make. I like doing the whole thing, so I'll apply the prosthetics and I'll make it up with makeup. But the hair, I usually leave to the hair and makeup person. It's a team thing. I won't just be like, oh, well, that's your bit, I'm off for an egg sandwich or something. It is so much a collaborative effort, and you just want to do it. You just want it to look great, and you want to go on set and people go, wow. But it's more the fact for me to go, oh, I'm really pleased, because I am really tough on myself. Every day is different. I like that where you're out there on set or in the field or the desert or whatever, and oh, why is that happening? Right, what can we do to solve it? I love that problem solving. I worked in Romania in winter, and it was one of the best jobs. A real low, bad movie in a way, but it was one of the best jobs I did, because I was thrown right in at the deep end, and I'm finding things in skips and making things work, and it was like, oh my god, bring it on. I've done jobs in China, and they're so exciting, like Hong Kong style of filmmaking. It's incredible, but it's like, talk about adrenaline filled. You would not believe the amount of gear you have. This is like some of my on-set kit. I have my shoulder bag, which I've had for years, so it looks kind of untidy, but I can just go like that, and I know where everything is. I like brushes, so I've got brushes for rougher work in there, and I've got finer, more kind of lovely soft brushes. I've got vegan brushes, all sorts for different applications, different makes of palettes. These are alcohol based, lovely colours, pigments. Look at the palettes there. Say we're doing a war movie or something, and we're going to Morocco, and we've got 30 fake dummy bodies. There's body parts, so you have to bag that up. My wife Sonia, will get onto like a courier company and doing all the logistics of those being crated so they don't get damaged. They've got to be insured. It's like a military operation. Then there's our own personal kit, makeup brushes, flammables, removers. You've got to think of everything. And I'm always like, what if? Right, let's put gaffer tape in. Let's put more blood tube in. Tissues, because if you go somewhere you think, oh, I can get tissues there, then you're in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing. We did a film, it was a great film, it's called So Long My Son, and we filmed in southern China and then Inner Mongolia, and it was minus 19 degrees in Inner Mongolia. I mean, talk about an adventure. The film is such a brilliant film. You just think, wow, I'm in China, how many British effects guys or girls, women, get to do this kind of thing? And it's so exciting. And a lot of the stuff for that specific job we had to take with us as like hand luggage, or put it in the hold of the plane. So I've got like facial, prosthetic cheeks, necks, all in the luggage, and we split the luggage. So you're thinking, what if one of the bags ends up in Paris or whatever? It's just like, you wouldn't believe how films get made. It's like, people driving down the road with a fake body that's for a mega film, and it's in the boot of the car. There are a lot of courses now. Some are great, but you can't beat hands-on experience. We've had people work here who are quite young but got a good head on their shoulders for quite a 18-year-olds say, but they're quite mature in a good way and very keen. I look for the kind of modest person, and you get a feel for them when they come in the door, and you just see how their reaction is. Some people come in and think, oh, it's all a bit dirty in the workshop, which they tend to be. It's people who you think kind of quite resilient and quietly determined and just wanting to better themselves, like I like to think I am. So you want somebody who's got like a good personality, not over the top, patient, interested in what you're doing. I like to have fun when I'm working, when it allows, because If you can't have fun doing this kind of line of work, you're in trouble.
I know I'll be still on my hands and knees when I'm 60, pumping blood in the middle of the desert in Morocco.
It's no different to when I was a kid. I'm just getting paid for rolling around on the desert floor. I want to be still enjoying it. There's still that sense of wonder. You know, it is magical, really.